Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a very special time of coming together, peace in every step, and may we take many, many steps for peace. This is a special gathering and the beginning of an adventure for all of us, bringing greater consciousness of the peace that we desire in our lives and how to share this in unified ways with each other and with a upbeat and inspirational way to doing so. Delighted to introduce you to Hezekiah Gabriel, dear friend, colleague, co-dancer. She's the executive director of Pathways to Peace. And Hezekiah, please take it.
Oh my goodness, I am just so honored and delighted to be able to introduce our first guest speaker, someone I admire so very much. And it is Dr. Younis. And he has dedicated a lifetime to global transformation. So before he begins, I'm going to talk a little bit about him and his work. Dr. Alfredo Sfeir-Younis is a distinguished economist, diplomat, and spiritual leader who has spent over 4 decades reshaping how the world approaches development, peace, and human dignity. Born in Chile, he received his PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and spent 29 years at the World Bank and the United Nations. He was the first environmental economist at the World Bank and a pioneer of rights-based development. He's founder of the Zambouling Institute for Human Transformation. Dr. Younis is recognized globally as a pioneer who integrated environmental economics into mainstream development policy when sustainability was still a marginal concern. As the World Bank's first environmental economist, he established frameworks that are now standard practice across international financial institutions. His work transcends economics. He was the first to systematically link international finance with economic, social, and cultural rights, ESCR, fundamentally challenging how development is understood, not just as GDP growth, but as the expansion of human capabilities and freedoms. He is a profound and brilliant individual that has a loving heart, and he has, for more than 2 decades, he has pioneered the integration of Buddhist philosophy and indigenous wisdom into economic policy, founding the Institute and the Latin American network of socially engaged Buddhism. And now, dear Alfredo, I turn the floor over to you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start saying that the traditional paradigms of peace have failed us, and we feel it. More money will not do it. More weapons will not do it. Transactional negotiations of power will not do it. Actually, it takes 1 second to mobilize billions of dollars to go to war, but it takes years really to get $1 to go for peace today. It's incredible to see lately, because of what's happening at the UN, that if one takes the whole budget of the UN since 1945, its totality, is only 2/3 of the expenditures on weapons of 1 year in the planet. The UN also has put forth more than 20,000, 40,000 resolutions, and we're still killing each other, we're still violating rights, we're still leaving billions of people behind. So basically, the beginning conclusion of all of us must be that we need a different way, a different approach, a different paradigm for peace. Starting this new paradigm is that peace is not a thing. Peace is a state of being. But when I say a state of being, I am saying two things, inner being as well as interbeing. In the state of inner being, we have to understand, we have to practice, and we have to self-realize peace in ourselves. In essence, we have to become peace, become walking peace. In the interbeing dimension of peace, we are looking for a commitment, in addition to our self-realization, to the creation of peaceful society, peaceful governments, peaceful religions, peaceful spirituality, also peaceful economics, politics, business, agriculture, peaceful education, peaceful health, peaceful relationship. Why not peace days, peaceful nights, peaceful dream, and here a peaceful walk? So peace with everything and everything with peace. But I would like to go one step further. As many people in the computer science said, let's have a double click here. The fundamental state of peace is a state of mutuality, but it's a mutuality with all expressions of life, human being, sentient beings, and nature. So the mantra of peace today in this era of super interdependent world is I am because you are because I am. And as we work for peace, we need to repeat this millions of times. The paradigm of peace today is that world peace is fundamentally dependent on inner peace as the solid foundation for world peace. But not only for human beings, also for sentient beings and nature. So we need peaceful land, peaceful water, peaceful fire, peaceful mountain, rivers, oceans, animals, insects. Today, we need to advance this by asking ourselves, well, how do we get to inner peace? And one essential component of inner peace is inner healing. It's our process of healing, healing from violence, suffering, ecological destruction, and fear. World peace, inner healing. But we need to go one more click on this, is that inner healing will be the result of the power of silence, the power of meditation, the power of awareness, the power of discernment, and the power of wisdom. Today, my friends, we are not at peace because we are totally fragmented, we are dispersed, we are distracted. We lost the holistic nature, the spinal cord of all manifestations of life as one. Our mind thinks more about separation than unity. The great challenge today is how do we deal with duality? And it's very, very important to understand that peace is born when we attain unity consciousness, which is one step beyond transcendental consciousness. But how do we eliminate duality? I will share as a Buddhist 4 ways to eliminate duality. And maybe this will be part of the meditation stage in the walking. The first one is that unity is a state of being also, as peace is a state of being. Therefore, we need the space for it in ourselves, which means we have to go to higher and higher levels of individual consciousness. This means deeper states of meditation. This means that duality occurs today because we have lower level of individual and collective consciousness. Collective consciousness today is very important. We know, we see it, we feel it. So this pushes us in this realm of the collective to understand how we get to unity. The second path to eliminate duality is that we need more refined mind to understand not only levels of consciousness, but different forms of consciousness. The unity between individual and collective consciousness will come from a third type of consciousness, which we need to develop at this point in time, which is called container consciousness. That one who has the individual and the collective nature of humanity and nature in one. The third path to eliminate this duality requires that we understand in better and more profound ways the interbeing within the law of karma, the law of action, the law of impacts, the law of responsibility. Peace is part of your karmic path. And when you walk for peace, you will begin to feel how past karma, past actions are really determining the possibility of future peace. We have a karmic endowment in the world. Past actions have consequences, present actions have consequences, and we have this incredible endowment of karma in the world we need to resolve. And the last path, to unity from duality is the recognition of what the Buddha said, the misuse of secondary identities. We are really full of secondary identities, and they are really moving more. It's not diversity, it's becoming a way to discriminate, a way to separate ourselves. Today, we have to bring inner peace in a practical and everyday spirituality. And I would say that I would recommend for many people who will be walking to really get in what is called the four sublime states. Metta, practice love and kindness. Karuna, practice compassion. Mudita, practice sympathetic joy. And finally, Upekkha, practice equanimity. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha should be the steps of this walkathon. Let me say also that many leaders have spoken about what is happening in this time. And two things are really powerful for me to share with you. Technology advances fast, but more than wisdom. We need more wisdom to really channel, technology. And also, we are now learning how to connect devices, technological devices, but we need to develop how to connect with other souls. Daddy Yankee, a great spiritual leader of the Brahma Kumaris, said, if you have peace in your mind, peace in your words, peace in your action, then peace will naturally spread. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. This means reconciliation. This means justice. So when we work for peace, we need to work for the poor, for the disabled, for the voiceless, for future generation, and for the earth itself. Let's make today 3 silent commitments to create peace in our thoughts, to create peace in our relationship, and to create peace as a way to service the world. But no peace will come into humanity if we are at war with nature. We cannot keep having rivers that are poisoned, forests that are destroyed, oceans that are polluted, and so much in this era of ecological disaster. Let us walk with compassion. Compassion not only to self-realize compassion in ourselves, but commit ourselves simultaneously to the creation of compassionate society. Commit yourself in this walk to heal the world in every action, in every step. The Buddha, when he was enlightened, did 1 week of different types of meditation, 7 types of meditation, just after enlightenment. And one of them was walking meditation, in which his mind and his whole body and spirit created a lotus flower under his feet on every step. The moment is now. The moment to heal the world is now. The moment for peace is now. Om Shanti. I bow to all of you. Thank you very, very much.
Mhm. And we bow to you, dear Alfredo. Thank you for your wisdom and really your guidance that we will take with us as we walk. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We have opened the chat now, and people are invited to place the questions into the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
Anita,
Becky. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and really appreciate you all sharing your thoughts and questions for our wonderful speakers tonight, which we had the honor of listening to and interacting with and learning from. And so I'm going to look for your questions, and please indicate who your question is for, which wonderful speaker your question is for, and I will go ahead and share it. So this question is for Dr. Alfredo, and it comes from Laura. Can you please speak to the positive impact of mass meditation, please?
Mass meditation?
Yes, mass meditation.
Okay. I just wanted to confirm that we live today in a collective society. For the first time in human history, we live in a planetary society. This is a fact. This is not a makeup. You know, what happens in one corner of the world, it happens everywhere. But what we hear about spirituality, you know, is very individual based, you know, and there is a reason. The logic is that if you don't change, you don't have the perception of peace. You don't know what peace is all about. If we don't know what peace is all about, it's very difficult to know what we're negotiating, what program are we given, be it for men or women. You know, we lose the quality of development. You know, we use the quality of money. You lose the quality of economics and politics. So there is this element there, but there is this collective side, you know, of spirituality. And my experience is the first time I meditated in a collective way was with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, you know, the famous Maharishi effect. We did it in Washington, and we quantified, 5 universities quantified the impact of collective meditation. But there is not only collective meditation, there is collective service. You know, we need to serve. It's very difficult when you are in the economic world or the business world to talk about this in this manner. But the reality is that we have to find what I call the 200% society, a society that is materially rich and spiritually rich at the same time. We cannot advance technology without wisdom. Think about for a moment on artificial intelligence. If we don't have a collective way to understand how the world will look like and how our wisdom, not only our knowledge, our wisdom will really begin to define how we collectively, in, as you say, mass spirituality needs to come up. And I would say that there is one principle, and that's all I want to say. There is one principle that is very important. We can talk about the economics of women, the future of women, the future of children, the future of the voiceless. There are many, many clusters in which we can focus ourselves and say, okay, we want more material prosperity for them. The issue of human rights, also a collective, a massive way of look at humanity. None of this will happen without a global consensus on social ethics. If social ethics is not there, in a sense, we get nowhere. I have been in development, you know, for many, many, many years. Marianne talked about Africa, beautiful example. I worked in Africa for 10 years, you know, and I was in the worst shanty towns that I ever seen in my life. They are not looking for money. They are looking for dignity. I remember when there was a project where they were giving water The great thing was water, but also was that they had a bill, that their name was there, that they had identity for the first time. So we need to have collective spirituality with instrument, like this walkathon is a collective instrument. It's a spiritually collective instrument to move. But there is also meditation collective. There is also education. This is such an important question. And I say to end that we have to put the emphasis on collective spirituality. That's why I created this Latin American, organization for the social teachings of the Buddha, not the individual, but also the social teachings. So the precondition for this to happen is not only meditation, it's meditation plus. Even if we do massively, it's meditation plus. And this plus is this consensus on the social ethics that we are going to collectively accept to move forward. Today, we live in the collective. There is no way to escape the collective. My profession as an environmental economist is to deal with the collective public goods, environment, water, climate, and so on. I was also a candidate to the presidency of Chile, running on a collective platform. People say, no, this is so interesting, but it's not the time. And I think Marianne is right. Now is the time. And I hope we are going to implement it and not just make, some one-shot deal and then it disappears, after so many days in this walkathon, and then each of us go everywhere. We are today in a world that is managed by individual materialism, and spirituality is being grabbed by individual materialism. We need to take it away. So the collective is not the addition of individuals. This is another fallacy. The collective today has its own dynamics, has its own intelligence, has its own energy, its own behavior. And I think it's important for us to think about this, we spirituality, collective spirituality. I am not afraid of that because I come probably from a different culture. But we have to be careful in not using language that in the end, it sort of disappears because it doesn't have the strength that really will make transformation possible at the collective level.
Perfect foundation in getting us in the mindset about moving forward and moving into this walkathon. And Judy, I think a couple of the keys that stand out for me was one was when Alfredo was talking about the inner peace, and we all have that. We are that, but we don't know that. We are. I think what comes to mind is also Teilhard de Chardin, where it says you are spiritual beings in a human experience.
Yeah.
We are that, but we're discovering the consciousness. We're discovering who this is, and the walkathon is an opportunity to intentionally take action. You have to get up, get your shoes on, and intentionally do this. What stood out for you?
Oh, the whole thing. I wanted it to go on for another 3 hours. It was so interesting and rich and full of interesting comments and things to ponder. But perhaps that's it. That's every step, and we get to ponder in every step we take. And I think if it's not always omnipresent in my mind when I'm in the kitchen making dinner, but if I can kind of incorporate some portion more than I currently do, I feel I'm a success story. And I think that can be true for everybody that wants to join this coalition and this movement to really lengthen, extend what was so beautifully started by our monks from Texas. And I encourage everybody to ponder what we're doing, and wanted to also let you know that during this, essentially the walkathon will be going from Mother's Day to Father's Day. So it's about 6 weeks that you have to create your own personal walkathon. and your own personal commitment to peace in every step. And it can be done in so many different ways. There's not a way to do it. And but we just want everyone to be engaged and understand the context and be part of our coalition to move this dialogue forward. We're having a series in that 6-week period. We're having a series of Zoom calls. You will be getting invitations to that via email and Facebook and social media and things. Our next one is just a week away on May 4th, which is Monday, May 4th. It's another kind of pre-launch before Mother's Day. And we are very fortunate to have Tano Maeda, who is an award-winning director, and he was the gentleman that did the documentary film Peace in Every Step that focused on the life of Thich Nhat Hanh. And he will be our guest in our next call, and he will be showing you an excerpt of that documentary film. We're very excited. And then in that call, we will invite Terry to step up and give you more details about how to sign up. But she did leave that information, I believe, in the chat. So you can also look there. And there are all, on most of our communications, there are links so that you can access the our individual website, which is actually hosted by Pathways to Peace, and we're very grateful for that. So in closing, I don't even know how to end except to say that I feel very privileged to have been on this call and to be with each one of you all over, and there are people I know from all over the world, not just the United States. So I want us to let that in maybe, and to just experience the fact that there is peace on the planet, and we just have to magnify it.
And I would say
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Marianne. In terms of peace building is a thing.
Mhm.
We're doing that now by being together.
Yeah.
This is part of that. This is an energetic that is vibrating out, but it's our action.
Yeah.
And so every step we take is in peace building.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here also. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank everybody. Very honored to have you here, all of you, each one of you, wherever you are.
And we're